I'm really enthusiastic about a virtual slot car racing club. And that's actually the title. It's a Facebook group called the Virtual Slot Car Racing Club. And they want to have people set up the same track and run similar or identical cars and compare their time over a 5-lap race, let's say. So they've got a couple different tracks, and the one that I set up is this oval. And I wanted to kind of go through the details of exactly what I've done for this and what I'm using. So first, there are 5 straight sections of 15-inch straights plus one shorter 6-inch. So I don't know what that comes out to, 81 inches of straight. And of course you need twice that, one for each side of the oval. And then on the ends, we have these really large 16-inch curves. And I have a comparison. Here's 2 of pieces of this 18-inch track compared to the typical 9-inch radius that you get in most race sets. So it's a pretty fast track, sort of like a super speedway, big wide turns. The idea was that it would be a little bit more manageable from a driving or people not crashing standpoint. I haven't found that to be the case, and that's probably has more to do with my driving, but that's a whole nother topic. What I'm using for timing is this 90s era AFX lap counter timer. It was really cool when it came out. It was kind of pricey. I really thought it was too expensive until you couldn't get it anymore. But I eventually did get one. They want to run at 18 volts, so you really do need an adjustable voltage power supply. And I have this handy dandy little eBay purchase where I can dial in the voltage, 17.9. I think that's as good as I'm gonna get. And for controllers, if you notice, I'm not using the stock controllers, and I'm not using an electronic one either. This is basically a new old stock, old Aurora AFX. These are rust kit hand controllers. I really like them. They're larger than the current set controllers, sort of adult size. They're really light. They have a pretty light spring on them also. Now the box says 45 ohms. I opened it up. The resistor says 60. So I'm going to believe what's on the resistor. And it also has a braking feature, which helps the cars, especially the older vintage cars, slow down a little bit. Those cars tend to coast a lot more than cars that have a lot of MagnaTraction. And a lot of people don't like the braking feature when they have cars with really strong traction magnets, because the cars stop like instantly. So on the older cars and older type designs, I prefer it. I like to have the brakes on it. So we're running a number of cars. This is a typical AFX MagnaTraction. It's pretty much what you would have got when you popped it out of the package, except for the body. It's a custom painted body. I bought this off eBay. It's painted up as a very specific car in a specific race. And that's the UOP Shadow. They made that slot car for years, and people are pretty familiar with it. Most of them were all black, and the real race car was for a couple races. Then they painted the top white. Then they started making all kinds of changes to it. The other is a current Auto World. This is called the 4-gear chassis. A lot of magnets on the bottom, a lot of MagnaTraction with this car. And then I want to run some of these old AFX Thunder Jets. Not this week, I think next week and the following week they want to run these as in a stock condition and a modified. And I really don't modify my cars like a lot of people do. I really don't buy, high performance aftermarket parts. On the old cars, I do put on silicone tires, and that's mostly because the tires are just hard and dried up and old now. So the Shadow and the two old cars have silicone tires on them. This Auto World is pretty much just how it came out of the box. So I'll try to run these 4 cars, time them for 5 laps each, and that'll be my official times. Hopefully I can do it without crashing a bunch. And I should probably take just a moment to run a few laps, kind of warm up my driving more than cars or anything else. So this has a little Christmas tree type start. You get red lights and a yellow and then green. So that beep means fastest lap time. So there's my modified MagnaTraction time, 13.38, which is funny because it's actually slower than my unmodified. A best lap, 2.49. And I guess I'm going to have to remember that and write it down. And then do a couple laps. So when you're driving, no matter what you're driving, the real trick to learning a track is going full throttle on the straight. So that little oversteer condition. So you know you're going just a tick too fast. Usually I was lucky not to crash. But what you want to do is right about there, let up on the throttle completely. Some people would consider that braking, and the car will roll into the turn. Once it's into the turn, you can usually get back and give it a little bit of throttle, and that's the real art, is how much do you give it. And you just go full throttle right then, and sometimes you can, or you gently apply the power so you're at full throttle on the straight. And an oval's great to really learn how to do that. And you can really apply that to almost any other track you go to. But that's really how you practice and learn how to drive. And oval's a great track for learning. And it's great for almost any driver to practice and get warmed up. I barely made that one. That was a pretty dramatic finish. Now that was 11.32. Best lap of 2.17. So I'll try running these cars. Now I'm running the red car as my stock Aurora Thunder Jet. And let me warm up, because these drive a bit different. Got to slow down a little bit more on the curves. And this car isn't really anything special. This is part of a batch of cars I have together that were all about the same speed. You really don't have to completely let off the throttle on this going into the turn. Definitely got to let up on it, but maybe not all the way. And this red 63 Thunderbird was partnered up with the yellow Galaxy convertible, and the yellow car appears to have had some significant break-in, which means it is a lot faster than this red car now. So I'm running the red car as sort of my stock version, and the yellow one will be considered my modified one. So we'll give this a go. Oh, I jumped the start there. So that was the best lap, of course. It was the first one. That one faster. Another one. Lap 4. White flag. So that one comes out to 20.58 seconds for 5 laps. Best lap, a 3.98. So, let me see, the red car and this yellow car, a day or two ago were pretty even on speed, and this one seems to have the chassis broken in, and seems to have gotten noticeably quicker. Well, these cars are pretty fun because there's no MagnaTraction and they crash a lot easier. So you need to take care of the track a little bit better, make sure the track's clean. You really need good tires to give you decent traction, and you need to keep the tires clean. And they're also a lot less tolerance of little bumps in the track too. So I had taken this track down and had to put it back up, and you got to make sure the connections are really snug or the track isn't really smooth. And we'll give it a whirl here. So there we go, kind of running everything cold turkey. It was 18.18 seconds for 5 laps, a best lap of 3:49. I think that was quite a bit faster than the red car. And just before I finish up, I wanted to point out this is all temporary. I had this up for a little bit to do my first entry. And it's on 2 folding banquet tables that aren't wide enough for the track. So I've repurposed some shipping boxes to sort of widen the tables a little bit. So sort of a Rube Goldberg setup. You can easily set it up on your track. This is a hard floor, it'd actually be pretty good. Carpet the track might not be perfectly flat. So it doesn't have to be fancy. This is really sort of, Rube Goldberg, just sort of trying to participate here and put things together. And heck, I got another slot car track over there, but you know, I needed to set this one up to basically race with the other guys. So, you know, it doesn't have to be really fancy. Could be nice and simple. There's a few basic ingredients you need. And if I wasn't making this video, I wouldn't be using this AFX lap timer. I'd be using the app on my phone because that would record all 5 of my laps. I would know exactly how fast each one was. So, you know, if you're interested, check out the group, check out how they're doing it. They would love to have you. And if you've done anything like this, I'd love to hear your comments. But I'm pretty enthusiastic about this idea. It's a great way for all of us slot car guys to kind of get together and see where everyone's at and hopefully have a lot of fun with it. So didn't mean to ramble on this long, but I did want to run my laps, and I did want to show everyone exactly what I was doing. And I did have one question on exactly where the power supply was set. So I'll show people. It's almost straight in the middle, straight up and down, I would call that. So hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think.